All right, well, let's go ahead and get this webinar kicked off. This is Todd Falcone, excited to be with all of you today. Welcome to the Insider Secrets to Recruiting Pros training webinar. We're going to be talking about how to recruit professional people into your network marketing business without ever feeling fearful or intimidated. In other words, doing it very confidently. So the goals from this web class today is number one, to help beginners or newer network marketers understand why recruiting up is so much easier, who to prospect when it comes to recruiting talent, and know exactly what to say to them to get them to a yes. And number two, for experienced networkers, to give you an additional and highly powerful way to put really good people into your business. This is my favorite way of recruiting when it comes to prospecting and network marketing. The big goal by the end of today's class is to, number one, help you understand that the way to accelerate the growth of your business is by recruiting up, by specifically focusing on recruiting talent, and that's what you should be doing in your business every day. And number two, really the only way to do this is to follow this simple process. This is something that I've worked on for many, many years, and I've gotten it dialed in, dialed down, and I want to teach that to you today. So do yourself a favor, turn off any distractions. I realize that we've all got different devices and iPhones and computers and all of that and things going on. But here's the deal. The information in today's webinar is too valuable for you to, miss out on something really important. If you miss out on something, you're like, what did he say? What did he say? I didn't get that. You just don't want that to happen. So make sure you're turning off your distractions. We're going to go for about maybe an hour and 15 minutes total. But I do want to get into this as quickly as possible. First of all, who's Todd Falcone? Well, that's me. I'm your host, your trainer for this particular webinar. If you're not super familiar with me, I've spent almost 30 years in the network marketing profession, full-time, not a hobby, not in and out, not here for a little bit and then gone. My entire business career has been in network marketing, and during my active career as an active distributor in the field, I built 6 companies to multiple six-figure checks. I've personally recruited over 2,000 people, professionals actually, using this specific method. I've recruited a lot more people than that, but specifically recruiting professionals, over 2,000 people. The last 14 years, I've been speaking and training full-time around the world on the profession of network marketing to audiences of over 12,000 people in now 28 different countries. I've coached and mentored hundreds of 6- and 7-figure earners during my active career as a speaker and a trainer. Gives you a little bit of background on myself. Let me talk about how I discovered this method, because it was kind of by accident, actually. And here's the deal. I've recruited in every way that you can possibly imagine: warm market, referrals, buying leads, doing trade shows, posting flyers, running classified ads, online advertising, offline ads, pay-per-click ads, article marketing, solo ads, social media, networking groups, you name it, I've done it. Literally, if there's a way to recruit, I've somehow incorporated it into my business. But by far, my favorite way of recruiting is this whole idea of recruiting up. And it was a discovery that took place when I was living in Monterey, California. I had spent at that time about, probably about 8 years working leads. I had spent a long time in my business working purchase leads during the early the early heyday of lead generation, when it didn't really even exist in network marketing. And I was doing exceptionally well. I was earning multiple 6-figure income, playing golf probably 4 days a week, surfing all the time. But at the same time, I was really getting frustrated with the quality of the prospects that I was getting through the lead generation strategies that I had in place. And I had this really I just had a bad day. I just had this one day of prospecting that really frustrated me, and I was like, where's all the good people at? I think we get to this point. It's funny when you start in network marketing, you'll talk to anybody and everybody that's willing to hear you out, and then you start to get better at it and start to understand it more, and you start to realize, like, hey, I got to be a talent scout. I got to put good people into my business, and you start to get a little bit what's the right word? I don't want to say irritated, but maybe a little frustrated when you're paying for a lead, for example, and you pick up the phone and the person can't even carry on a conversation. So, and it was actually a very pathetic day of prospecting that was full of terrible prospects and people that were not qualified for my time, that really caused me to look at other options. I'd spent this whole day talking to people, and I got to the end of the day, I thought, man, where's all the good people at? What's up? They're not coming in to me today. And I was sitting at my desk, and I remember looking down, and there was a Homes and Land magazine sitting on my desk, and I looked at it, and I thought, realtors. Well, almost every realtor I know is super outgoing. They work hard. They make money on commissions. They're self-starters. They spend their time drumming up new business. I wonder what'll happen if I call them. And I never even thought about just like picking up the phone and calling a realtor out of the blue, right? And so I made a phone call, and I opened up the magazine. I found this woman. I called her. I don't know exactly what I said, but she basically more or less hung up on me and said no. And I was like, okay, that script doesn't work very well. So I kind of changed what I said a little bit. I'm ham and egging it at this point and trying to figure out what to say to get elicit a yes. And I called this other guy, and he said yes to me. And I thought, okay, that I better start remembering what I said. And then I made another phone call that night to another female agent, and she said yes. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I don't even know what I'm doing. And I just talked to three people. All three of them sound amazing. Like I'd love to have them in my business every day of the week. And two out of the three of them said yes to me. Wow. Okay, cool. So I got up the next morning, and I just started going through that magazine and just totally ham and egg, and I don't even know what I'm doing, just trying to figure out what to say. And some would say yes, and some would say no. But I started to attract a bunch of people, and I actually started to recruit quite a few people in the in the real estate community, and that led to over a period of time, over the next year or so, that led to a lot of personally recruited realtors, which actually ended up being a bunch of mortgage people, which ended up being additional categories of professionals, and I actually started to have people reaching out to me going, what are you doing? How are you getting all these people? I had downline, sideline, upline people asking me. And honestly, I didn't want to tell anybody for a long period of time. I kept this a secret just because I had run advertising co-ops in the past, and we'd imploded a number of ad co-ops where, we were bringing leads in for our members. And then all of a sudden, it got too big, and then the lead quality suffered. So I thought, this is too good. I don't want to outfish this pond. And honestly, what I did is I finally went to the U.S. Department of Labor's website, and I realized how many millions of people were moving in and through these career categories. And I thought, there's no way I can outfish this market. I'm going to actually start teaching it to some of my team members. And that's how you're even hearing about it to this day. I was literally keeping it super quiet for a long time and not telling anybody, even my own team members. But, here's the thing. There's a lot of ways to prospect and recruit. Some are easier. Some are harder. Some are immediate. Some others take time. This particular method is pretty cool because it's faster. It's easier than a lot of other methods. It's completely scalable, and it is literally an unlimited source of prospects for you, and you never even have to pay a dime to generate them. And I think that's a refreshing thing. One thing, maybe you've realized this, I don't know, but the longer you're in the business, you'll realize this, that one of the biggest ongoing investments in your business is lead generation. And if you can figure out a way to cut costs in lead generation and still be able to generate high caliber prospects for your business without having to pay for them, that's more money in your pocket. So a couple quick case studies that I want to throw in here. Andrew Eaton is a guy that I met a few years ago in Las Vegas. We met, he interviewed me on his show, and he said, "How I got to get you out to South Africa to speak." So I was out on this month-long speaking tour a couple summers ago, and we were and this guy's recruited over 200 people using this exact method. In fact, you can see his quote, "Todd, I just took one thing that you said from your teaching on recruiting professionals and started applying it on LinkedIn, and I've now personally recruited over 200 people into my business." That's personally sponsored. What's interesting is I was with him in Port Elizabeth. We were in an airport flying from Port Elizabeth to Durban, South Africa, and he shows me his laptop. He goes, "Hey, mate, check this out." And he turns his computer, and he goes, check this out. And he goes, "Do you see that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it was my peak interest question that I teach. He goes, with the conversation he was having with a professional on LinkedIn. And he said, "I told you, man." I go, "This stuff works." And then like a few days later, we were at his house in Durban, and he shows me his laptop again. But at this time, it was his genealogy report. He goes, "You see that guy's name?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "That's the guy I put in my business from the airport the other day." So Andrew's been absolutely crushing it doing this. He does it all over the world. This is another good guy, Jim Tanner. A few years ago, this guy was driving a furniture delivery truck and pretty much struggling in his network marketing business. I somehow stumbled onto my recruiting professionals training and started applying it to his business. And he has built his entire business recruiting professional people. He quoted here, "Before learning your insider secrets recruiting professionals, I was driving a truck full time and not making much progress in my network marketing business. I've literally built my entire business over 6 figures by recruiting professional people and doing my business." He actually called me recently, and he just got his $250,000 ring, which I'm so excited for him. And that means he's making over $250,000 a year in his network marketing business. So it's really cool to see success stories like that. 4 big things you're going to learn today. Number 1, why professionals are actually easier to target than others. Number 2, why you don't have to be good, experienced, or already successful to recruit high quality professional people into your business. Number 3, who the best categories of professionals are to prospect for your business and why. Number 4, what to say to them to get them to a yes. So that's what you're going to learn today. Let's go into some of these secrets. Number 1, why pros are easier to recruit. Well, here's the thing. The path of least resistance isn't what most people think it is. Most network marketers think that it's easier talking to their broke friends and family, people that are at or beneath them socioeconomically. You kind of think, my broke buddy, if he blows me out, no big deal. But boy, oh boy, I don't want to go talk to my super successful commercial real estate friend because what if he blows me out, right? And so what's funny is we end up going down the socioeconomic chain, avoiding the best people on our list, which there's an industry term for that you're aware of. It's called the chicken list. These are the people that were chicken to call because of how we feel that they might respond to us, for example. And the reality is that when you go down the socioeconomic chain, you're actually met with more resistance and more skepticism. This is when you go to your buddies and they're like, oh, well, how much money are you making? Oh, why don't you prove to me that it works and then call me in 6 months? Or if it's so good, why don't you pay my way in? I don't have the money. I'm broke. I'm skeptical. I mean, we get that in any number of ways, but that's the kind of stuff that we get when we go down the socioeconomic chain. But when you go up, it's totally and completely different. Successful people are successful for a reason because they see opportunity, they capitalize on it, they're action takers. They see opportunity as a vehicle for change, they roll up their sleeves, they get after it. Here's the other thing, they've got the money to start, and they have a much stronger center of influence. The people that they surround themselves with are just like them. That's something really important, because it costs money to start in a network marketing business. You don't want everybody to come in and pay the $30 kit or the $50 kit. I mean, that's not the way to get started in any network marketing business. Yeah, the company offers that option, but is that the ideal way to get started? It's not. And here's the thing, like attracts like. Who do you think a 40-year-old real estate professional spends most of his or her time with? They spend time with other people that are like them. How about someone that's for the same age, 40, and they're stuffing shelves at Walmart making minimum wage? Now, I'm not knocking that. Look, if a guy's got a job and he's taking care of his family, good for you. But who do you think that guy's center? If we take two 40-year-old men, one's a real estate professional and one's stuffing shelves at Walmart, who has a stronger center of influence? It's not hard to figure out. And the other thing is, we talk all the time, don't prejudge people. And I've even been guilty of it. One of the first things we talk about when somebody joins a network marketing business is don't prejudge somebody. And then heck, like many years later, I was prejudging my golf buddy Randall. This is a guy that I met at a Bible study in Monterey, California, actually. So I was already making good money, actually doing really well. I was playing golf. I played golf with this guy like over 500 times. That's how much golf I was playing. And I didn't tell him about my business. And it was crazy. I made that monster mistake by prejudging this guy, Randall, because he was worth like $60 million. And I thought, well, geez, Randall, I mean, he would never do a network marketing business. He's so successful. Why would he ever even touch this? And then he calls me one day and he says, hey, do you know Everett such and such? And I go, yeah, I know that guy. He goes, yeah, well, he's on your 6th level. I'm on your 7th. Why didn't you tell me about this? And I was just kind of like, I didn't even know what to say. I mean, I think I said, I don't know, because I'm stupid. I mean, this guy came in, he produced so much volume. The amount of money that I would have earned on just his personal production from retail sales would have probably been $4 or $5 grand a month. Here's the thing. This works for a lot of people, and you have to understand something as well. Like, this whole, here's Jeff Morrell. This is a guy that I got kind of plugged into within the last couple years, and we were on a recent Zoom together, and he actually said this on a Zoom. Dude, your program works unbelievably well. I got it instantly. About 40 to 50% of the people that I'm showing this to are signing up into my business. In fact, it's going so well that I haven't even had time to get back to my warm market. That's his direct quote. And and he's actually a realtor. So here's a professional guy who's a realtor. And I think I actually just heard recently, I got to get back to him because I heard he just went full time in his business. So, think about that 40 to 50% of the people he's signing up with, that they're signing up into his business. He does it locally. He does it in his backyard. Like Jim Tanner, who I showed you a minute ago, Jim builds all over the U.S. Andrew Eaton builds all over the world. Jeff has been primarily kind of in his backyard. So it works in a lot of different areas. If you want to build locally, you can do it that way. If you want to go internationally, you want to go just in the U.S. or whatever market that you're in, you can do that. And here's the thing. Successful people are easier to talk to, and they're more likely to act. One very important thing that you need to take into account is that people do network marketing for a lot of different reasons, and more than just, I need the money, right? When you let this simple fact sink in, you'll come to the very simple conclusion that talking to professional people is a way better option when it comes to recruiting than what most people are doing. And look, I've seen this happen. It's like flawed thinking. Somebody thinks, oh, the only people I got to talk to people that need the money. No, lots of very successful people do network marketing. They do it for different reasons. Yeah, maybe they're doing it. Maybe they make lots of money, but they're doing it because they want to make more money. Maybe they want more freedom. Maybe they want more challenge, more social interaction. Whatever the reasons are, people are doing it because there's something that is not happening in their lives. So we don't want to avoid the best people. Just because somebody's got a great job or great career does not at all mean that they're not open until we ask. Secret number 2, you don't have to be good, experienced, or successful to recruit high caliber people. I learned this a long time ago. And please write this down. I want you to get this. This is really important that you understand this. So there's this concept, perception is projection, okay? So what you project upon someone, let's say you're just meeting somebody for the first time. They don't know you, you don't know them, and that's different with warm market. Like, for example, warm market, somebody that's known you since you were 5 and you're now 30, they know everything about you. They know all the foolish things that you did as a kid, and even if you made monumental changes, like maybe you were not a good kid, for example, and you have totally shifted your life and you're completely different to this day, like you're not the same person that you were 10 years ago. A lot of your friends are still going to look at the old you and not even see the changes that you've made, even though you're totally different. So they have this long history with you, and for those people to see the changes, it takes a long time for them to respond to those monster changes, those positive changes you've made in your life. Now, here's the thing about this: when you're meeting a new person, when you're talking to that person, what you project on them in terms of what you're saying, your language, how you're saying it, everything that you do is being projected. Like if I'm talking to you, I'm literally projecting, right? I'm projecting to you. I'm talking to you. The way I dress, the way I act, it's all this projection upon you. In fact, here's a way to look at it. When you're communicating with someone, a new person, it's like everything that you're doing is being projected upon a movie screen, and they're watching that movie screen, and what you're projecting becomes their reality of who you are, right? It's like you're creating this movie. You're projecting something. The language, the body language, the things you say, the way you say them, all your actions, everything is being projected, and they're formulating this thought on who you are based on how you're acting. So here's the thing. This is so powerful. What are you choosing to project? Success and accomplishment, desperation, beggy, pleady, needy, or supreme confidence, right? And look, I did this like a long time ago. Here's a picture of me at this one bedroom duplex in Pacific Grove, California. And in this one bedroom apartment, working out of a garage, like where my right arm is pointing, that's where I got to my first $10,000 monthly residual check by harnessing the power of projection. So here I am in that window over my left shoulder, the single pane. That thing always had tons of mold on it. I basically had a little creek running through my my garage. It was crazy, but it was an office. It's where I was starting, right? And the crazy thing is, I'm sitting in that office, like, was I projecting that I was living in this grimy, moldy, single pane window garage trying to get my business up and running? Can you imagine if oh, hey, John, this is Todd Falcone. Man, I'm in this garage and things aren't going so good. I really could use somebody to join my business so I can get the heck out of this garage and actually, find a double pane window. I mean, it would not have worked for me. So what I did, and I learned this a long time ago, I understood that because look, when I started network marketing, I was projecting need and desperation and want, and it wasn't working for me. I'm like, that's not helping me out. So I learned to act as if. In fact, let me show you this. So, in fact, here's the thing that you want to think about, right? So if you were making, say, 20 grand a month, would you act differently than you are now? Right? If you're making, or whatever the number is. And so, in fact, let me actually change the slide here. So I run this recruiting up challenge just to give you some perspective. So I run a 12-week accountability program that I've been doing for a long time, and we do this recruiting up challenge. And many of the people that are doing this challenge have never recruited up in their entire lives, because a lot of people just kind of think, well, it's hard. It's scary. It's intimidating. What if they're probably not even open. They wouldn't even look at this. They basically have made the decision for their prospect before they even prospect these individuals. So they planted this wrong seed in their head. And every person without exception who does this challenge, they end up and they end up reaching out to somebody up the socioeconomic chain. They come back the following week from the challenge going, "Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? I had no idea. I called this person that I've been so scared of. They actually joined my business." Or even if the person said no, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I called all these people that are high level people. They were super nice. Even the ones that said no, they were like super nice to me. And I got somebody to join my business, and I got somebody to join to use my product." So this method is so powerful, and it's just about and it's not fake it till you make it. I'm not a big fan of fake it till you make it, because fake it till you make it's kind of like, here, let me lie to you, right? Let me fake it, like act. Let me put on the show as if I'm like making a bunch of dough, but I'm not. But the harnessing the power of projection is just really you acting as if, like, how would you act if you were making 20 grand a month? Would you act differently than you are now? Most people would say, absolutely, I would. So here's secret number 3. The best categories to target. You need to understand that, and advertisers do this all the time. I don't understand why networkers don't do it, right? Advertisers do target marketing specifically to go after, their customer avatar, their main, hardcore user of whatever it is they're marketing. And it's funny because I don't know too many network marketers that are even clear on what their customer avatar is. Like, who's the ideal person, the ideal customer? What character traits do they exhibit? How old are they? Where do they live? What do they do for a living? What do they like to do? What's, all these different things. I think it's important. In fact, I would even suggest that you get some clarity on exactly who is the ideal customer, who's the ideal distributor. Here's one thing I know in general about network marketing. In terms of target marketing and going after people that are more likely to respond favorably and do well if they choose to do network marketing. And there's 4 commonalities these people have with what we do. Number 1, the number 1 activity that they do in their daily job or occupation is selling, leading, overseeing, managing. They're in some type of position where they're prospecting and drumming up new business, or they're running an organization or a team. What do we do in network marketing? It's exactly what we do. So they're doing what we do. They're just doing it in a different occupation. Number 2, they're typically paid on their personal production. And this is in terms of the career categories that I have had a lot of success prospecting into. These are people that have chosen occupations that, if they do well, they get paid better. Like a realtor, that's a 100% commission situation. A mortgage broker, the more loans that they do, the more that they make. Financial planners, the more. The insurance agent, same. People that are in a sales management position, running a sales staff. Well, if their sales staff bottom line profit increases, they get a bigger bonus. So, and how do we get paid in network marketing? We don't get paid hourly. We don't get paid salary. We get paid for the work that we put in. If we put in the work and we produce, then we get paid. If we don't produce, we don't get paid. So they do what we do. They're paid the way that we get paid. Number 3 is they don't mind taking a little risk for the long-term rewards. In other words, they've chosen career categories where there's a little risk there. I mean, think about it. Somebody decides to be a real estate professional. They start from scratch. They got nothing. And if they do well, then they'll make a lot of money. If they're not, then, man, they're going to have to scramble. They might have to do what some of my buddies did in their early stages of their real estate career, bartend or wait tables at night while they're, drumming up their business, right? If it's an employed salesperson, and they're not making quota, and you don't make quota month in, month out for a few months, you're fired. So there's a little bit of risk. And I think, for us as network marketers, it's not a lot of financial risk. It's certainly not like not even close to starting a franchise in terms of the kind of money that we'd have to invest. But think about it. We're stepping outside the box a little bit, doing things that are a little bit differently than what most people are doing, and most people are taught to do. So to think about that for a second, right? I mean, we're doing. None of you went to school to be a network marketer. I got a degree in marketing, and there was one chapter in one book. In fact, it was literally one paragraph, and all it was a description. Network marketing is blank. All it was an explanation of what. But there was no teaching about network marketing. So look, that's number 3. We're risk takers. Period. Number 4 is they're typically highly social people. Now, it's interesting because social people tend to congregate in social careers. Like someone, for example, and I'm not getting down on this. Everybody needs a computer coder, but most of the computer coders that I know, which aren't very many, they're kind of not very social people. They like to sit in the back of the room, listening to some crazy music on their headphones while they're sipping Coca-Cola and they're just grinding out computer code and they like to be alone. I mean, is that the ideal? Like, is that the person? Not to say that a computer coder couldn't do network marketing. Don't get me wrong. But is that the ideal candidate? No. So they're typically highly social people. I think if you look around at look at the top people in most network marketing companies, they can handle themselves socially pretty good. Here's some of the ideal prospects for recruiting professionals. These are categories that have worked really well for me: real estate professionals, mortgage brokers, insurance agents, small business owners, salespeople and account executives, sales managers, directors of marketing, people who run charities, organizations, or clubs, well-networked people that have an extensive circle of influence. These are categories that have just done well for me in terms of specifically target marketing and going after good people. And here's secret number 4. There's asking the right question, right? We've all heard the term or the phrase, ask and ye shall receive. And what's interesting to me is sometimes we hear things and we hear them over and over again, and then it's like we tune them out, right? I've heard that so many times, I don't want to hear it again. And that phrase, ask and ye shall receive, is so utterly powerful. If you ask, you're going to get. If you don't ask, you're not going to get, right? So, and there's power in asking, especially when you learn to ask the right question in the right way to the right audience. This question that's in front of you right now, this took me 6 years to develop this question. You'd think it would be technically or so much more complex, but I think it's the simplicity and the directness of that question that just makes it so powerful and enables people to elicit such a high percentage of positive responses. And the question is, look, John, do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing as a real estate professional? Susan, let me ask you a question. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing as a small business owner? That's the peak interest question. And yeah, it took me a little while to develop that. And that question to this day is the question that elicits the highest percentage response. Do yourself a favor. Don't take my question and change it. I had a client of mine a few years ago that got my training program on this and got the question. This guy Scott, and he was like, oh, I got your course and I changed the professionals and I changed the question and it didn't work for me, so I put the course in the closet. And then he kept hearing people getting results and what they were doing, and he was on a training call I was doing, and somebody told their story or something. And he was like, oh my gosh, I got to go. So he goes back in there and he digs in. He goes, okay, this time I'm going to actually listen to Todd. Duh. Right. And so he starts listening and he goes, okay, I'm going to do it the way he tells me to do it. I'm going to ask the exact question, the exact way he asked it, to the exact category of professional. He calls me up and I get this voicemail. He goes, hey, Todd, this is Scott M. I won't tell you his last name, but Scott. And he's like, hey, he goes, I just want you to know I bought your course before. I went through it. I totally reinvented the wheel. I totally fell on my face. I went back into my closet, grabbed it, went through it. He goes, I just did 2 dialing sessions. I went 12 for 12 on the first session, 9 for 12 on the second session. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Goodbye. And so what he meant 12 for 12 is he called 12 people and 12 people said yes, that they would be open to taking a look at his business. Then the second session he called 12 or whatever it was, and 9 out of 12. So pretty high percentage returns. But I mean, here's the thing. Why would, one of the biggest lessons I've ever learned in my entire life is this: if somebody has something that you want and they're actually willing to teach it to you, like I am here, don't you dare reinvent the wheel. Like why would anybody do something differently if somebody has already gone through the trial and error of figuring this out? Like I said, it took me 6 years to develop that question. So you want to go do the question in a different manner? No. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing as a financial planner? Stick with the question. Let me give you a little bonus secret. This is really important as well. It's this whole idea of operating from a state of expanded awareness. The eyes cannot see the things that they're not yet trained to see, okay? So, in other words, what that means is when we teach people to be coachable in network marketing. And there's like this pecking order that we get into in network marketing. First, it starts warm market, memory jogger, write down your list. And then honestly, it's kind of like what's next after that for most people. It's like, well, what do I do after warm market? That's when the juggling act typically occurs, right? But here's the thing that you have to start doing is start looking at things and go, is that an opportunity, right? Is that an opportunity? And we're talent scouts. We have to have our radar up and be looking for opportunity everywhere we look, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No, it's not like you can't live your life and have some good family time and not be always thinking about your business. That's ridiculous to have it invade your life in that manner. But you do need to be in a situation of expanded awareness. And all that really means is that you're keeping yourself in this open position where you're asking yourself, and you look at something, you're like, is that an opportunity? And so, like, for example, I mean, like, sometimes we're kind of forced into expanded awareness, and other times we can volunteer to be in expanded awareness. So, like this Sprint Blue Audi S4, I've had two. I had a Sprint Blue one, and I had a red one. And when I brought the blue one home, my wife was like, wow, that's really blue. And it's not like a regular navy blue. It's like blue. Sprint Blue is like this crazy blue that's you pretty much don't see anywhere. And it was funny because I had never noticed another Sprint Blue Audi S4 on the road until I bought one. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's a Sprint Blue Audi S4. There's another one. And it wasn't until I had the car myself. It's like you've probably done that. You bought a new car, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, everybody's got this car, right? So here's a little reality check. And what I want to do with you guys is the first step towards creating change in your life is awareness. You can't create really any significant change until you're aware that something needs to change. So what I want to do here, and I just because we have so many people on the webinar, I'm not going to unmute. I don't even actually with this, I can't even unmute the line, so it doesn't matter. But what I want to do here is, and I've done this on enough stages all over the world to already know what the answers are, but this is going to totally open your eyes about missed opportunities in your backyard. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions right now to find out how often that you're literally driving by opportunity and you're not capitalizing on it because you're not looking at it as an opportunity. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I want you to answer these yourself. I can sit here, and I've done this with 2,000 people in a room, and I already know what the answer is before I even do this. I've done this enough times to already know what it is, but all you need to know is what your answer is, right? So, okay, and the first couple questions, first question especially is a little bit ridiculous, but you got to bear with me. Do you own a cell phone? Okay, pretty sure that every single person on this webinar owns a cell phone. I don't know anybody anymore that doesn't own a cell phone. So we all, okay, yeah, all right, Todd, I own a cell phone. Okay, cool, that's question number 1. Number 2 is it at all possible that within the last 7 days of you living your life that you've driven by any for sale sign for any piece of real estate? You're taking the kids to and from school, we're going to the gym, running across town, going to the laundromat, going to this, going to the dry cleaner, whatever it is you're doing. Is it remotely possible that you've driven by any for sale sign? I think pretty much 100% of you would say, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So now we got 100% on the cell phone, 100% on, yeah, I've driven by a for sale sign. Here's the third question. Did you call the realtor? This is where literally every hand in the room goes down unless they've been exposed to this style of recruiting. So if you didn't call the realtor, that means what? That either you didn't recognize that it was an opportunity. You didn't ask yourself, is that an opportunity? See, when I see that real estate sign, I pull over and I make a phone call. In fact, let me do this. This next one, this will be cool. Here's a quick story and a huge lesson for you guys that are tuned into this webinar. So, and this will really let it all sink in for you. So I'm coming back from an event. This is several years ago, and I'd been out of my house for about 5 days. I was at a network marketing function and coming home, and there was I've been gone for 5-6 days, something like that, for this event. I know my refrigerator, the produce was empty, and because I obviously don't like leaving produce in my refrigerator when I'm gone for that long because it goes bad. And I knew my mailbox was full because I hadn't checked my mail for 5 days or whatever. So I pull up into my driveway, I drop my bag, I hop in my car, I'm leaving my house, driving out of my neighborhood, and it's like maybe an 8-minute drive over to this grocery store and where my mail's at, right? So I'm leaving the neighborhood, and within a couple blocks, I see a for sale sign. And I keep a legal yellow pad and pen in my car wedged between my center console and my seat for this very purpose. And I see this for sale sign. I pull over, I write the realtor's name and phone number down, I press the gas on my car, and I pull my phone out and I make a phone call. And this is how the phone call goes. Good afternoon, this is Jan. I'm like, hey, Jan, Todd Falcone, how you doing? She's like, great, what can I do for you? I said, Jan, I was just driving by your listing here in Beaver Lake Estates. She's like, oh my gosh, fantastic. Are you interested in the home? I said, well, Jan, it's a beautiful home. I actually live in the neighborhood right down the street. Let me tell you why I'm calling. I know you're very active here in the real estate community on the Sammamish Plateau. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in the process of expanding my business here locally. I love working with people in the real estate community. I have a very simple question for you, Jan, and that is, do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing as a real estate professional? That's the peak interest question. And she said, yes. And at that point, what do? You get that person whatever the information is about your opportunity, however you do it, the webinar, the conference call, the videos, however you do it, right? So what are we looking for? We're looking for someone who's willing, able, capable, that sounds great, that we can and that is open, that we can put our business in front of. So now understand also, I'm on an errand running session. This is downtime for most people. Also, I want you to, here's a little lesson within the lesson. People say all the time, I don't have the time. Well, yeah, you do. People have the time. They just don't, they need to look at their time differently. I'm all about making use of the crooks and the crannies of my day. You know, this little errand running session, when you hear me finish the story, you're going to be, oh my gosh, this guy's on an errand running session and made more prospecting calls in an errand running session than I did in an entire day. So I made that phone call. I pull up to my little strip center at Pine Lake Estates. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm dragging a little bit, so I go to my local coffee shop. I order myself a green tea. While I'm waiting for my green tea, there's a little cork board in there. What do you see on these cork boards? They're in coffee shops and wherever else they might be, and people are posting stuff. So I look up there and I'm like, I know what I'm looking for because I have clarity with the kind of types of people that I want to put into my business. I look up on the corkboard. I'm like, oh, there's a realtor. Oh, there's a personal fitness trainer. Oh, there's a mortgage person. So I grab those 3 business cards. I put them in my pocket. I go right next door to my little mail place. I grab my mail. About 50 yards over to the right, there's a QFC, which is a chain of grocery stores in Washington State. I walk in there. I start grocery shopping. I'm cruising through the grocery store, and all of a sudden I see this little miniature man on my grocery cart. No, it's not a mini man. It's an advertisement. This one is just an image that I pulled off the internet, but it's this guy advertising for State Farm, and he's got this big, bright, beaming smile. I'm in the grocery store, literally in the middle of grocery shopping. I pull my phone out of my pocket, and I call him. Good afternoon, State Farm Insurance. Can I speak with Greg, please? Transfers me to Greg. This is Greg. Hey, Greg, Todd Falcone, how's it going? He said, good. What can I do for you? I said, Greg, I'm looking at your smiling face between my tomatoes and my eggs. And he goes, oh, you must be seeing my ad in the shopping cart. I'm literally looking at your smiling face between my tomatoes and my eggs. I'm literally in the middle of grocery shopping right now at QFC in Pine Lake. He's like, oh, fantastic. I said, listen, Greg, if you're running this ad, you're obviously looking to grow your State Farm business. I'm an entrepreneur. I love working with really high caliber individuals. I got a simple question for you. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing with State Farm? Notice how the peak interest question is the same. This guy goes, yep, as a matter of fact, I do. And I said, listen, I see your office is right around the corner from my house. Is it possible that we get together on Monday or Tuesday of next week? Following Tuesday morning, I met with Greg, and an hour later, after I walked out of that meeting, he was signed up in my business. Does it happen like that all the time? No, it almost never happens like that, where it's a first call, sit down, done, walk out, and I've signed the guy up. Did he become the mega millionaire producer in my business? No, but he was an amazingly loyal product user. He did bring in some business. In fact, he brought in far more business. The phone. Let's just put it this way: the phone call was worth it probably 1,000-fold. Okay, so now here's the thing. Let's back up for a second. I haven't had that appointment yet. I booked that appointment while I was in the grocery store. I get in my car. I'm driving home. What's in my pocket? The 3 business cards, the personal fitness trainer, the mortgage person, the realtor. On the drive home, again on an errand running session, I called those 3 people. 2 out of those 3 said yes to me. So by the time I pull into my driveway on an errand running session, downtime for most people, I made 5 phone calls to high caliber people. 4 out of 5 of them said yes to me to taking a look at my business. Now, here's the thing. Tomorrow's going to be a different day for you. You're going to be like, oh, man, I'm this Falcone guy. Now he's like making me mad because now I see this thing. Now I got to act in a different way. Yes, you do. You're going to have a different choice tomorrow because now you have a heightened level of awareness about what's around you. Now, let me ask you a question. If you understand why professionals are easier to recruit, number one, you understand that your personal success literally has nothing to do with how they'll respond. Number three, you know which categories are the best ones to target, which ones to avoid, and why. And number four, you know the exact question to ask them. Do you think you could be successful? I have a hard time hearing anybody say, no, Todd, I couldn't be successful knowing all that stuff. Now, look, you're on this webinar. My objective here is to heighten your senses, to enlighten you, to get you thinking a little bit differently and go, wait a minute, hold on. Wow, I never thought of that. Most people don't think, they go warm market and then they go, I don't even know what's after that. My deal would be warm market. Let's go to get some professionals. Let's start recruiting up the socioeconomic chain from the very beginning. Now, if I stopped it right now and I said, tell me everything that I just said, can you repeat 100% back to me what I just taught you in the last whatever amount of time we've been on the webinar? Probably not, because it's like drinking out of a fire hose on a webinar like this. So look, here's the thing that I want to do for you. I want you to be a professional recruiter and feel uber confident talking to any person, high level, mid level, low level, any level. Years ago, when I started doing this and teaching this, I ended up producing a training program called the Insider Secrets to Recruiting Professionals Home Study Course. I want to share with you what that is real quick, because if you really want to take this this method and really understand it, you need to have this training program and go through it and get exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to spend a few minutes on this. I think you're going to understand why this is an important and valuable add-on to your personal development library. It's called Insider Secrets to Recruiting Professionals. It's version 2.0. I originally produced this course about 8-9 years ago, did the full recording, and did a complete re-record of it very, very recently. It's 100% digital now, so it's instantly digitally delivered to you, which is awesome. In the course, you're going to know exactly what qualities to look for in a prospect, so you're going to be super clear with that. You're going to know where to find them locally, regionally, nationally, internationally. You're going to learn exactly what to say to these people to get them to say yes to you. You're going to be able to recruit them. This is so important. Recruit them whether you made a dime or not. Doesn't matter what you've made. It doesn't matter whether you've had any success or not, because of you're not the issue. The deal is not the deal. You got to understand how powerful that is. You're not the deal. And it's not your buddy who knows your history. This is somebody that you don't yet know. They don't know whether you're sitting in a 10,000 square foot home overlooking the beach, or you're in a 10 by 10 square foot garage with a moldy single pane window that you can't even look out of, right? You're going to also learn how to use what I call a reframe question to turn maybes or it depends into yeses. These are powerful because you can literally take every it depends or maybe and turn it into a yes by doing a reframe. I'm going to teach you how to follow up with professionals, how to recruit high-level people that are in your warm market. You know, some of those people that are on your chicken list that you haven't talked to? I've got a very specific approach for talking to those people. How to maximize your referrals, talking and getting referrals from professionals. Think about this. Like I said, like attracts like. Who do you think a 45-year-old financial planner hangs out with? What kind of referral do you think you'd get from a person like that? It's a really complete rundown on how to recruit pros. This is my entire methodology that I've been working on for so many years, and I put it together in a complete home study course. I'm also in this package, I'm including the Insider Secrets Recruiting Pros Resource Guide. This goes into more depth, and it's printed out in front of you, so it really helps to understand and get the learning process when you can hear it, when you can see it. So personality qualities to look for in a business partner, we go into more depth on that. Includes multiple scripts for recruiting pros, including the reframe questions that are written down in front of you so you can see the questions, so you can understand how to use these reframes. I include the best voicemail scripts for professionals. In other words, what do you say to get a call back? How do you get an increased number of callbacks? How many times have you left a message never gotten a single call back? I get callbacks from pretty much everybody I call. You're going to get those voicemail scripts, effective approaches for referrals, best places to find these people. Like I said before, that's free. You don't have to pay for it, which is amazing. Best categories to target and which ones to avoid. So you're also going to get the Recruiting Pros Pain Points and Hot Buttons checklist. You know, I've had people ask me, Todd, I don't do real estate. I don't know anything about real estate. How am I going to recruit a realtor? I don't know anything about financial planners. I don't know about this. How am I going to recruit these? How am I going to intelligently? I don't know nothing about any of these things. How am I going to recruit these people? Well, you don't need to have a full education on these, nor do you have to have done them. I've never done any of these careers that I'm calling into. But what I do in the Pain Points and Hot Buttons checklist is I give you a super fast education on the professionals both positives and negatives of their careers. So every career has good things and bad things. And when you know what those are and you know what they might be experiencing, like, for example, I know most realtors, they work on Saturdays and Sundays doing open houses. I know they'd probably rather be at home with their kids or playing golf or whatever they like to do. I know that an account executive selling advertising in a mid-sized market area caps out at about 50 grand a year, but they also have to use their own car to go on sales calls. And in a market size that's a mid-market size, they put 50 to 60,000 miles a year on their car. They burn out their car before they ever even pay for it. These are hot buttons, and when you know what these hot buttons are, what it does is it helps you to know exactly what to do to drive these people to a yes. Puts you at a really distinct advantage. You'll also understand how market size and local economies impact your business. Not all markets are the same. You need to know, like doing this strategically is an important thing. You'll be able to determine what markets to target, which ones to avoid. And it's just super powerful with that. So it really helps to get very specific with how you're recruiting when it comes to recruiting professionals. Then there's the search training that I've included here as well, which is, it teaches you exactly how to find professionals to connect with locally. There's so many people like literally in your backyard that are underneath your nose that you're not even seeing, even more so than the examples that I've already given you. I'm going to show you how to easily find professionals across the country and abroad. If you want to build locally, you can. You want to build in your country, across the world. You can find, and by the way, it works in any market. I've got people in South Africa, in Europe, in Australia, in the U.S., in Canada, in South America, Central America, Asia, all over the place that are using these methods, and it works literally in every single market, no matter where you are. I'm going to teach you how to quickly conduct market research and cherry pick some of the best markets to get into so you can really refine it. I'm going to give you the best sites to find professionals, and I'm literally going to give you the websites. Here's where you find them. You don't pay for them. Here they are. The top social networking sites used by professionals around the globe, more than LinkedIn. There's a bunch of sites you probably haven't even heard of that professionals in different categories use to network and communicate with one another. We always think about business networking, LinkedIn, but there's way more sites than just LinkedIn. LinkedIn is certainly one of them, but I'm going to get you plugged in so you really get in this position where you're never going to run out of people to talk to about your business. So here's the other thing. You're going to get something extra because you're on the webinar. This is another add-on for you that I'm going to throw in here. You're getting my Recruiting Professionals live dials. Well, you know what that is? That's me making real phone calls to real people. So you can listen to me make calls to real professionals. They're not made-up calls. These are real calls to real people. The good ones, the not so good ones, the yeses and the nos. I didn't delete all the nos so I sound great. You get to hear how I respond and how I react to a no, which is important. So you can actually be able to model exactly what I say and how I say it. We could have a theoretical discussion all day long about what were to happen if one were to prospect, but when you see it in action, I'm telling you, this is one of the best ways of learning that there is seeing somebody do something in real life and in real time. You're going to learn how to be able to be quick on your feet because I explain my rationale between calls. If I say do something with a prospect, I tell you why I did it. If I do this, I explain why. So I give you rationale between the calls so you understand why I made specific decisions, which really helps with the learning. You get a real-world glimpse into what it's like calling professionals. Stuff is super powerful. This is actually sold as a completely separate add-on to the course, but I'm including it for you guys today because you're on this webinar. You're going to use these calls as your tool to replicate my exact tonality, pace, and how I ask that peak interest question. This really solidifies the learning process. You're getting the exact system that these guys like Andrew Eaton recruited over 200 people. Jim Tanner's built his entire business to 6 figures plus. And Jeff Morrell getting 40 to 50% of the people signing up are using every single day to recruit people into their business. This is the exact system that these guys are using. What's the price? Well, the Insider Secrets Recruiting Professionals course, the value on that's $997. The Recruiting Pros Resource Guides, $97. The Pain Points and Hot Buttons Checklist, $297. The search training is $197. The live dials, that value on that's $997. Total value on the package for you guys today is $25.85. But are you going to pay that? You're on a webinar. You expect to pay full retail? Probably not. So I want to make it more affordable for you guys. So $397 is the full payment price, okay? But I'm going to make it even better for you. So here's what we're going to do. First 10 people to order within the next few hours can bust it out into 3 payments of just $127. So instead of paying $397, it works out to be, what is that, $381? So, and check it out. Most of the time, people do a 3-payment option. They actually make it more expensive than the actual price. I'm making it less expensive. Or you can save an additional $100 and make one payment of only $297. So you got a couple different options there. What I want to do is make it as easy as possible for you to be able to do this, regardless of what your financial situation is. I'm sure any of you can figure out a way. Okay, well, I can do the 127 for 3 months, right? So what I want is I want to see you get results. I want to see you be another Jeff Morrell or another Andrew Eaton or another, Scott M. or any of these people that I've referenced throughout this particular training. Just go to toddfalcone.com/recruit pros. That's the website. There may be a button on this page. If my web guys put a button, thank you guys. I appreciate that. So either go to toddfalcone.com/recruit pros, or if there's a button on the page, you can probably click on that. Here's what you're going to do next. Go to toddfalcone.com/recruit pros. Choose your payment plan. Either do the 3-payment option, or if you want to save yourself even more money, do the 1-payment option, which is obviously a little better deal. And what's going to happen is you're going to receive a welcome email with login instructions, and you're going to immediately be able to get started within the next few minutes digging into this. Because it's digitally delivered to you, once you get that login email with instructions, you can literally access the training program, and within probably a couple hours, you can start to implement this stuff into your business. So you don't have to wait for it to be shipped to you, wait to dig into it. You can dig into it now and start implementing now. So you can start recruiting more professionals, attracting high-quality people into your business, building a higher caliber team, a high-quality team, increasing your checks, speeding up your business growth, which is nobody wants to go slower. I've never met a network marketer who says, man, can you make my business go slower? And I think you guys can understand why this will help you speed up your business. Go to toddfalcone.com/recruit pros, or if there's a button, like I said, push the button on the side. That'll take you there. But I want to make it even better for you. So let's sweeten the pot a little bit, okay? No risk, 100% satisfaction guarantee. I'm going to give you the best guarantee ever. And when you sign up for this program, you're literally doing it completely risk-free. I've been speaking professionally for over 14 years. I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to keep your money if you're not satisfied with the training program. I'll refund your money immediately. Here's what I mean. Go through the entire training system within the next 30 days. That means you have full access to it. Listen to it, go through it, take notes, dig in, implement it, use it. If by the end of that time you decide that it's not for you, let me know, and I'll give you a full refund, 100% refund. No questions asked, no harassment. Why do you want a refund? That's ridiculous to me. No wiggle clauses, jump through 9 hoops to try to get a refund. You send an email, you call our office, whatever you do. I don't want to keep your money if you don't want it. Come on, that's not cool. That's not fair to you. No shenanigans. I'm not into shenanigans. Your word is gold. That means you say, I want my money back, whatever, boom, you get your money back. I don't want your money if you think that there's not enough value in the product. Here's what I want. I want success stories. I want to hear from you and go, holy smokes, Todd, you changed the direction of my business. The trajectory of my business is totally different than it was prior to listening to this. I feel more confident. I'm feeling amazing. I'm recruiting great people, but I'm also going to make it even better. Isn't that cool? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to include a few bonuses. Check this out. How to win in the game of prospecting. This is the first bonus I'm going to throw in, okay? How to win in the game of prospecting. This is actually the very first training program that I ever produced when I became a speaker. And you know what's crazy? We still sell more units of this per month. Like, I look at the sales figures every month. I'm like, holy smokes, this is the very first product that I produced. And the reason why it's such a top seller is because everybody wants to improve their prospecting game. And honestly, if I were to go into the studio and re-record it, I wouldn't even change anything in it. This is my personal formula for prospecting improvement. It's how I went to go from sweaty, stuttering, nervous wreck to being one of the top recruiters in every company I built. It's the exact process that I went through to improve my prospecting skills. So you're going to be able to quickly improve your prospecting skills. You'll know exactly what needs to change to start getting better results in your prospecting and recruiting efforts. You're going to be able to follow the same plan that every high-level athlete and performer does to play at the very top of their game. So I'm going to include that as a bonus. Let's make it even better. Let's do that. So I'm also going to include cracking the code to consistency. This is a 2-part training series that I did that's via recorded webinar that and it addresses one of the most common problems people have in this business. I just can't seem to stay consistent, Todd. I want to, but I can't seem to. And I have a very specific formula as well for being consistent that I follow. And the great thing about this is if you're not consistent in your business, it'll help you be more consistent in your business for sure. If you got other things that you're not consistent in outside of network marketing, the formula works for whatever project or whatever thing that you're doing. You got a home project that you're not getting to. You got some other thing that you keep putting off. It'll help you be consistent in whatever it is that you need help being consistent at. It is a step-by-step plan to stop putting things off and end procrastination. Now, you're going to get super clear with exactly what you want, and finally, for some of you, be able to get it. And it's going to start helping you to be super consistent in literally every area of your life. So I'm going to add how to win in the game of prospecting as a bonus and cracking the code to consistency as a bonus. And apparently, we're still not done. So I'm also going to include dynamic divas of networking. So this is like a project that I did a while ago, which was, honestly, it's one of my favorite projects, one of my favorite audio programs that I've ever produced. And it's me sitting down with 8 amazing women and having very open conversations. And you're going to be able to learn the exact strategies that these women used to be hugely successful as entrepreneurs in their business. They're completely unscripted, in-depth conversations on how these ladies went on to dominate in their respective companies. And then one of the coolest things is not one of these women knew each other prior to me interviewing. There's 8 of them. There's like 8 one-hour interviews that I did with these women. They didn't know each other. So it's interesting. They all have different perspectives. And here's the other thing. You're going to learn how to recruit more women into your business. Guys, dudes, check it out. Over 70% of the people that are involved in direct sales are women. You want to know how to recruit more women into your business for sure. You want to have a lot of women in your business. And ladies, what woman doesn't want to hear from another woman on how she did it? You're going to be able to hear success stories from other women that have absolutely dominated in their business. So I'm going to include those 3 bonuses in addition to what you're already getting. So let's do a quick recap. You're getting the Recruiting Pro System, the complete home study course, all the things that I mentioned, the $2,585 value. Bonus number 1 of how to win in the game of prospecting, $297 value. Cracking the code to consistency, another $297 value. The third bonus, Dynamic Divas of Networking, $197 value. All these digitally, instantly delivered to you so you can instantly access this stuff. And the total value on all this is $33.76. So let's recap on what it's really going to cost you. If you order right now, you can get $2,995 off. That's a pretty significant saving. You could go to my website right now and pay full retail. I'm happy. My kids will thank you for it. But because you're on this webinar, you're getting a super deal. So you're going to save almost $3,000, $229.95 if you do the 3 payments of $127, or you can save a total of $3,079 by making 1 payment of only $297. So again, it's going to get better. Remember, 100% satisfaction guarantee. It's the best guarantee ever. Okay, meaning I'm going to stand behind it personally. When you sign up for this program, you're doing it completely risk-free. You can take it home, use it, embrace it all, 30 days to test drive the entire system. But I'm going to warn you, you do not want to wait because I'm planning on removing the live dials training because it's only for people that are part of this webinar. This is always sold separately. It's never been part of the Insider Secrets. So you guys are on this webinar. I figured I'd throw it in as a value add and reduce the price for you, but it's going to go away pretty quickly. So you've watched this entire presentation. You want a system to recruit high-quality professionals, and you know this is an insanely excellent value. Take advantage of this incredible discount, the amazing extra bonuses that I've included, and the cannot lose guarantee now. Go to toddfalcone.com/recruit pros, or if there's a button on the page, click the button on the page. Start using this stuff. Start applying it into your business. I want to hear from you. I want to hear, Todd, holy smokes, this is what happened for me. I know this because I spent so many hours and so many years perfecting this method. When you start to apply this stuff and you start to gain in your self-confidence and you start to feel really good talking to great people, your business is going to grow faster. You're going to be a much more successful network marketer when you come to the realization that recruiting quality and recruiting talent is a way better option. Go to the website that you see on your page or click the button, pick up the training. I'll see you in the training, and I look forward to helping you become the fearless networker that you were born to be. Thanks so much for plugging in. I'll see you in the training.